This is the part that I probably feel ashamed of to say, but honestly, you start looking at these games later on because you're more of a fantasy guy, and I am a fantasy guy. I got a lot of folks in. Actually, I have 3 fantasy teams on CBS, one Yahoo, and another one. So I'm trying to keep up with what's going on in the fantasy world as in addition to what's going on with these Falcons. How y'all doing today? Is Steve? It is 7:25. If you see me keep looking over to the right, taking a look at Pittsburgh Steelers going against the New York Giants. They are up. Giants up 3-0 early right now. But how y'all doing out there? This is what we call Monday evening rehab. And win or lose, we'll still chop it up and see what we're talking about and see if, we all react a certain way at 4:15 as opposed to 24 hours later. What's going on, Jaquan? What's going on, Ron? And sometimes you just need that little bit of time that you can kind of, take a deep breath, figure out what's going on, and assess what's really going on, and just try to see if there are any answers that we can get from yesterday's game. I think that we played a pretty good game in the first half. I really do. I think the first half, after really going back and looking at it, the first half, we did a decent job. It was 14-12, obviously, at halftime. Those first two drives of the year, first time you saw live bullets on the other side of the field. I don't think I was expecting us to come out like the monsters of the Midway or like Ray Lewis and his boys from the Ravens. I thought we were going to come out and make adjustments. And after the first 2 touchdown drives, we actually did make some adjustments. They brought the pressure even on the first 2 drives. Grady getting in there for, I guess, what they called 1.5 sacks, and Tack making his presence known all across the defensive line. I mean, those guys were so active up front that you have to give credit where credit is due. I mean, those guys did a really good job of keeping things at bay. Now, I'm going to go to this, and I'm sure everyone is going to have their own opinion about what the starting point, not starting point, what the turning point was in the game. I have to go back and truly start thinking about the panic mode. I truly think we panicked. I think we panicked. I didn't think it was no need for us to go for 4th down, especially on the punt. I thought that was not a good decision. But, JD says, anybody watching Monday Night Football? I'm actually watching it myself, my brother. Tim Wong says, none-headed 4th down call. Secondary is a liability. O-line needs to block better. Now I know it's an easy pick on to say because that was last year. The O-line needs to block better. I'm not trying to make the O-line this great entity, but the O-line did a better job than I think they did last year going into the year. This was a much better, to me, that was a much better showing. Again, make sure you get it right. I'm not trying to say they were great, but they did a better job against this team than they did against Minnesota last year. Giants have the ball, just in case you guys want to know. Giants had the ball 8 minutes, 34 seconds left, driving on Pittsburgh with a 3-0 lead. Boneheaded. I got you. Jaqual says, I really can't believe we were still alive in that game. And it was 3rd and 3. Matt forced ball when he could have ran again. Dude really making decisions based on his contract out there. JD, this loss has everyone fighting against each other. Tobias, how you doing, brother? They only gave up 2 damn sacks yesterday. Well, yeah, and that's something, again, it makes it easy for everybody to go back to the same old song and dance. Well, the Falcons didn't. Matt Ryan didn't do that. Okay, that's number one in any group, and it doesn't have to be this group in any other group. Matt Ryan didn't do good. He blew the game. The whole defense sucked, and the offensive line can't block. Well, I have variations on all of those. Did Matt play a pristine game yesterday? Absolutely not. Did Matt give us definition of empty yards yesterday? Absolutely he did. But there were also some decent signs that Matt was making some plays because he was getting the ball to Gage quite a bit in the middle of the field. And you had to throw them on target. Was he off a little bit? Of course he was. Russell wasn't on his game at the very beginning. But again, when you're winning, nobody pays attention to that. They just look at the numbers. Russell threw like 14 passes in the first half and only had 100 yards. But he had the lead. When you have the lead, it looks better. So, when you start talking about the O-line needs to get better, you got to take baby steps, folks. They look okay. Yeah, not trying to name anybody as an all-pro, but they looked all right. Wasn't that bad. JD says, I say this yesterday, panic mode after the failed 4th downs. Well, actually, it's panic mode before they do it, JD. Because my thing, the 4th down with the punt, to me, was especially hurtful because you are only down 21-12. When you do trickeration and things like that all the time, I know there's a possibility of a surprise element, but when you're on your side of the field, that also just reeks of desperation to me. And I don't think we had to be desperate at that time. Did our defense give away a horrible Isaiah Oliver defended pass for them to go up 21-12? Absolutely. But the game wasn't over. Now, if you wanted to do that little play at the 45-yard line of Seattle and do that, I might have thought, okay, maybe different. But I think you panic, and that's coaching. Because somebody had to call that play, and Dan Quinn had to say, that's cool. And I just feel like you did not do what you needed to do at that time. I think you punt, and you keep bringing that defense. That was the first down the field pass Russell had tried, aside of the one they got the penalty on. And that was just such a perfectly thrown ball. I mean, there was nothing you can do about that. Lisa said, why couldn't we handle Jamal Adams, Lord have mercy, in the second half? We didn't make the adjustments there. And the only time I did see, Lisa, Todd Gurley on one play particular where he was on the other side of Matt and they saw Jamal Adams and they finally slid him over right after the ball was hyped. Yeah, but I need more than that. So to your point, you're correct. If we see it as fans, then those folks who are sitting up in those booths up there, defense, if Raheem was on the field, but somebody has to say, okay, Jamal Adams is not only making tackles, he's getting sacks, he's doing everything. He's checking Julio, he's checking everybody. Somebody should have him accounted for at all times. Quarterback goes up, Matt goes up to the line, he should be saying 33. 33 over there. I see all the quarterbacks do it when they point out defensive linemen, or they point out linebackers. 33 over here, 33 point over there. That's what you have to do. You've got to be able to do that. Sheridan says, Kenzel says Oliver has got to go. Yeah, it's kind of hard to. It is extremely hard to defend Oliver, and I've been one of the people this summer saying, you know what, maybe he's turned a corner, maybe he's done that. It made me feel good, and it looked like they started him in this game. I was hopeful. Now, did he have a couple of first half moments? Yes, but you can't give up the big play. And you looked real bad giving up the big play. You can't do that. And I would have liked it better if he would have tried to tackle the man. You cannot give up the big play. You can't do it. Benny Starr said, what if they had made those fourth downs? Everybody, y'all would be talking different. But they did make the first downs. You know what? I'm gonna give you a star because you're absolutely right, Benny. If we made the fourth downs, we would be saying gutsy call, great technique. 3 times you didn't make a fourth down. Calm down with that homerism, because that's not that's one of the most duh statements of all time. Of course, if you made the fourth down, we would be talking different. But you didn't. Come on now. Homer says, Dallas D-line will be our true test for O-line. Seattle D-line struggles to get sacks. Yeah, I will say that. Seattle's, there are a lot of people that still think that's the Legion of Boom. It's not. They have 2 defensive players on their team. That's Wagner and now Jamal Adams. And I'm almost thinking Jamal Adams might have taken over as the best. Tobias says, everyone keeps blaming defense, but the offense put the defense in bad field position all day. The offense, you can almost tell Dirk Cutter just seemed confused. The very first play of the game, Todd Gurley ran for 7 yards. And the first thing I said was, oh, yeah. And even during that drive, he mixed it up a little bit. And then on our first touchdown, gave the ball to Gurley 3 times. You get positive results. You get a touchdown. But you have to balance that thing out. I know they did a decent job on the first drive. But that's where calls like going for it on fourth down at 21-12, you get out of your playbook then. Because once you give the ball back to Seattle on your end of the field, whether Seattle scored a field goal or a touchdown, now you have to throw the run game out. Gurley had 10 carries, 51 yards, and a touchdown in the first half. He carried the ball 4 times for 5 yards in the second half. You know why? Because the run game, we didn't need it. We needed to score quick. We need to score in bunches. You tear that whole playbook up at that point. So it didn't make any sense. The game plan, and that just goes back to a Dan Quinn-led team right now. You have to make better decisions. You must. Anthony said it's sad that they picked on Oliver more than they did on the rookie. Was that the truth? They didn't even try to go over there to my boy except once or twice. They picked on Oliver all day. Anthony Sheridan says, we were just out-coached. I feel good about our squad. We were out-coached. But I think we kind of out-coached ourselves too. It was on like 2 coaching staffs against our own team. I do agree with you that we were out-coached. Steven, what's going on, brother? Says situational play calling is Dan Quinn Achilles' heel, and it has been. That's been his thing. That's probably why you hear a great many of you all yearn for the yesteryear of Kyle Shanahan coming in, because I think Kyle had so much command over that offense when he was there. I think that wasn't even a Dan Quinn thing, that that was something, especially the second year in the program, that Dan Quinn had nothing to do with it. And you can tell by the way we moved up and down the field, since the Super Bowl in the fourth quarter. That was one of the things that made that team tick. Brother Craig says, sorry I'm late, man. It's all good. I was late too, Gregory, for the record, so no big deal, brother. JD said, Big Ben is limping. Please don't tell me that, because he's my second quarterback on my fantasy squad. Twan, exactly. Jamal Adams looked like all pro, which he is, but that's how our defense should be ran. Now, the one thing is we need to have that monster safety like that. Is that Neil? I'm not sure. Maybe we do. Gerard says move Casey to a corner and we'll be straight. You know, there was a thought of doing that 2 years ago, but they never came through. Kim not only says win on first down, win the explosive plays, win the red zone, the turnover battle, win special teams. This stuff never fails. I've never seen it fail. You're absolutely right. Lisa, that's the problem. Being out-coached leads to L's. We know that from the Super Bowl. Brother Phillip, rise up. I'm not going to be negative because this first game going to stay positive till the try game. After that, I'm going in hard. Here's the deal about that. And I know, everybody's got an opinion, and that's great, including me, including you, including everybody out there. I'm not tearing up my Falcons stuff in the first day. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon. I'm not deserting my team. I think what happens is, as I was saying yesterday, the Groundhog Day effect. When you keep seeing the same thing over and over and over, it gets to a point where you're saying, man, I really need to see a change in what's going on. Now, yesterday, at the very beginning of the game, I felt hopeful because you know what? In 2019, that Minnesota game, we were out of the game by the first quarter. At least in this game, the first half, which ended up being very competitive, I think we had a chance. I think we kind of out-coached ourselves in the second half. We started reaching for things. We started trying to go against the grain. There was nothing. We didn't have to panic. There was one horrible play by Oliver, which he didn't make on the touchdown, but you stick to the game plan. Kick that ball, punt the ball back to Seattle, and make them come all the way back down the field. It's not like they had anybody on that team that was a special teams guru that was running back down the field. Gregory says Dirk's got to take his head out of his fifth point of contact. Gurley is a fifth receiver option. Get him involved accordingly. JD said, I'm a coach who's conservative and relies on field goals. Dallas lost last night due to a bad fourth down call. And you're absolutely right. And that's the crazy thing. But, you gotta do better, man. We've got to do better. Got a phone call here starting off. Go ahead, man. You're in the Bird game. Talk to me. Identify yourself.
Oh, what's going on, Steven? You know it's Gregory, man.
Greg, how you doing, my brother? Talk to me, man. Tell me it's a day after. You've had a chance to sit, had a chance to go to sleep, wake up, get some Waffle House. Tell me what you're thinking 24 hours later. What's the deal?
Well, I still think by week 5, our Bird game, our Falcons should be 2-2. Let me tell you why. I did a little scouting. I watched the Dallas game last night. We lost against a good quarterback.
Yeah.
They lost against a team that has no Gurley and no top-tier receivers. So next week is winnable, especially with those injuries. Then Kyle Vander Esch is out.
That's a big one. That was when I saw him go out, Greg, the first thing I said was, oh boy, that could be interesting. And Sean Lee isn't playing either.
And on top of that, they lost their first tier tight end too. So now they have to use Jarwin is out too. So now they have to use a backup tight end. So they're going to be hurting. If we put pressure on Dak like we should, like if we put the same pressure on Dak like we did on Russell Wilson, man, we'll be fine next week.
And Dak is not, I'm sorry to interrupt, I'm going to come back to you. Dak is not Russell Wilson. Let me make that clear. I think Dak is good. And there are people in Dallas that think he's Russell Wilson, but he's not Russell Wilson. Tell me, Gregory, one thing from yesterday that you were saying that you may have softened your stance on today. Something you said yesterday that the whole entire team is trash, but you stepped back a minute. What is one thing you stepped back and said?
Oh, let me tell you, man. Our D-line ready to eat.
Let me tell you
something. So y'all 3 years and still be there. Oliver got to go, man. Oliver got to go. Let me try a job for 3 years and still ain't got it. You think they gonna keep me?
Nope. No, not at all.
Well, I think, Steven, now that we see that Sheffield's out, I think we should get them boys, Miller and Bray Wilson, a shot at that cornerback. They can't be no worse than got doggone Oliver showed yesterday. You can't get burnt on the 4th down, man.
Well, you have to think about something. Now, they said they were talking. Dan Quinn was on today, and D-Led mentioned that Sheffield was in a boot, which, of course, you don't want to hear that. So, yeah, exactly. Because Sheffield, when he came in there, I think Sheffield made Oliver better last year when he came in there.
But we see now with Sheffield, we don't know what's the aspect on Sheffield. I think we should get that boy Bray Wilson and Jordan Miller a shot like that. Because Oliver done had 3 years to prove himself. Come on, man.
What do you have to lose?
Man. Either you got it or you don't.
What do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose going.
You got nothing to lose. Especially with Oliver. He just fast, but it's like he can't click in to get the aspect of the game. My thing is this right here, and I don't want to go, long. I just look.
It's all good, brother. We look. You know how we do it and split. And I got my faves in here, so I gotta let y'all speak your mind, brother. Sometimes, look, it's easier to talk than it is to type.
That's my thing right here, Steven. I'm not saying that Metcalf is a Julio Jones. No way ever. Thing is, by Oliver having the opportunity to practice against Julio Jones will well prepare him to play against Metcalf. If Metcalf is a big physical receiver, you're going to get demolished off the line. He shouldn't have played up on him anyway. His mind should have clicked in and said, okay, I know this guy bigger, faster than me. Let me back up off him a little bit, give him some space.
Now, to your point, when they were showing those camp battles, they never showed Oliver against Jones. It used to be Sheffield against Jones, who was getting the best. So that was the thing that was getting. Brother Greg, I'm gonna let the other folks come in here, man. Appreciate you as always. Please call back. Please call back.
Because I cut the phone off to call you. Let me get back to the show, man. I left a few comments in there, so hey. I'm finna get back to the show, man. I'm finna get back on Facebook and watch it, man.
Praise you, man. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Anybody else, y'all can give a call. 1-877-747. I'm losing my number right here. 877-474. Dang. Try it again. 1-877-747-2346. Shoot, it's scrolling across your screen, dang it. And I forgot my old phone number. I apologize. Okay, let me get back. Now, what he said is true. Why not let Oliver get a chance? Why not? Lisa says, we are a traumatized fan base. That's why we react the way we do after a loss. It's evident to me that a Dan Quinn isn't going to lead us to a Lombardi. I think Dan Quinn might be on the clock. I know he was on the clock when we started the season. I think he's on the clock right now. I really do. I think he might be the guy that might be on there right now. I mean, the clock is ticking. Talk to me, caller. How you doing? Identify yourself and welcome in.
Hey, this is Eddie.
Hey, man, what's going on now? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I cannot complain. Talk to me. 24 hours. Had a chance to breathe. Tell me what your thoughts are about what your thoughts are totally about yesterday.
I am very impressed. Well, they gave up, over 300 yards against Russell Wilson, but it's the pursuit that I'm so happy about. You see defense swarming all over the ball, players, hustling down, closing out the edge so the running game don't be efficient. And on top of that, the pressure. The pressure we're getting toward Whistle. Even though Seattle have a bad offensive line, still keep up the pace. Still keep it up against the Dallas game. That's gonna be a real test now for throughout the season.
Right.
But Dallas have a strong offensive line. So if they can do the exact same thing like yesterday,
right.
You might see a bit on defense quick, and that's gonna be the biggest key is to pursue and make those type of plays so they can force punt, force, turnover. That's gonna be key, right?
Absolutely. Now I was watching the Dallas game yesterday. Now when they're running the ball, they got gaping holes that they make for Ezekiel coming through there. Now I did see a little bit. Now Aaron Donald's on your defensive line, so that makes a difference. But I did see some flaws in their pass protection that had Dak running around just a little bit more. He wasn't as comfortable as we can. I noticed with the Falcons yesterday, we stunted quite a bit. But even with the stunt, tell me what you think about the defensive lines showing yesterday. Had you seen us play a complete defensive line like that in a while?
Not in a while.
Yeah.
Not a chance. Football season happened, we had, basically had that tremendous year. Other than that, we haven't seen more than two edges coming out the line like that. So that's going to be the key throughout the season is the defensive line showing up every single game and playing like that.
Absolutely.
So, AJ Terrell, it's just, first game. So let's see how he's going to do throughout the year, especially playing man coverage.
Right.
So let's see how he's going to do throughout the year.
And I'm not exactly shivering over the wide receivers for Dallas. Listen, CD Lamb comes with a lot of hype. He made a couple of good plays. Amari Cooper is nice. And I know they tried to play up the third guy. I'm trying to think what his name is now. The one who had the interference call, the offensive interference call at the end. They are nice, but again, I just need some solid cornerback play, and if I can get that, I'll be fine. But before I let you go, I appreciate you calling. So again, tell me one thing you thought from yesterday that you have backed up on in your criticism of the Falcons. Something that right after the game you were saying that sucked, but now after this morning or today you say, you know what, I might have been a little hard on that.
I would say the running game.
Yeah.
I did not have faith in Brian Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Hill's going to be a lot dirty this year to help Todd Gurley. So he's going to be a real big key. At first, I was just like, oh, I don't know. But now it's just like, okay, he getting hurt. So, keep giving the ball. If you can't get CG3 the ball, you just keep, just trying to feed him somehow, some way. But honestly, they're going to need all three of that running backs to show up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hear you. I appreciate you, man. Please call back. Catch us next week, and we'll be after the Dallas game. Thank you so much for giving us a call. I had to stop the comments I was looking through here. Always, my brother Tidy came on, and let me tell you see what y'all think. Tidy says, I know it's only been one game. However, did we release Trufant 1 year too soon, in your opinion? It's a fair statement. Did Trufant not play pretty good last year? We had that conversation about whether True. I think we're ready to punish True for the couple of years he had right after he got his contract. But last year, near the end, he actually didn't play a bad defensive back position last year. I think he led us in interceptions, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a thought. Tidy, you making me think. I mean, we were overpaying him. That's for sure. If it had to go by salary alone, you got to let him go. But at the end of the year last year, go back and look, he didn't play a horrible wide receiver. He didn't play a horrible quarterback. Not horrible. As they end the real Revis, but not horrible. Miles says, one positive thing. How you doing, Miles? One positive thing I saw during the Falcons-Seahawks game was Dante Grady tack. We were constantly getting pressure on Russell Wilson, forcing him to make plays outside the pocket. Absolutely. Unfortunately, that's his bread and butter, making plays outside the pocket. Homer, I love our personnel minus the quarterback a little, but coaching is what has me so disappointed. You can't fix bad coaching. You either have it or you don't. We are not favored at the coaching position going into 90% of our game. I wish I could sit here and disagree with you, but you are correct. Greg says by week 5, we should be at bare minimum 2-2. I hope so. I hope we are. Martavius, what's going on, man? Good to see you coming in here. And Brandon said it ain't just coaching. And Brandon, you make a good point, because the execution in the secondary, I'm pretty sure that Oliver, whatever technique he used on that 4th down, was not what they taught him. That 4th down on the play, on the punt play, you've got to be up on him more than that. They only needed 5 yards. There's no way you should get beat on that move, because that's one of the things you think about. They were right on our side of the field. That's got to be one of the options. On 4th and 5, you're going to do one of 3 things. That 4th and 5, either Russell was going to run, either they were going to do try to draw you off sides, or they were going to try to beat you deep. That was the only thing, because I think it was actually more than 5 yards, if I'm not mistaken. But whatever it is, it ended up being a long touchdown. Philip, why is it Matt changing down at the line when he sees something wrong or a better play call? That's one issue. Philip, we have that argument all the time about what Matt is able to do in offenses. I know Kyle did not let them do a lot of changing in his system. I do remember that initially, especially the first year. Now, I'm sure some points during the year he allowed Matt to make maybe some line changes or something like that. But I think actually Alex did the line change when he got there. But there's got to be something to say, okay, Matt, this is year 13? Yeah, you should be able to make your own adjustments. I would think. Because it doesn't take a genius to me. I don't care what the play call was for Matt to say, Jamal over there. So if Jamal over there, I'm going to need somebody to watch out for him. He could have that whole conversation at the line at that point, because Jamal was killing him anyway. Montevious said, Oliver had me hot. Join the club. Had me hot too. Kevin said, it will be interesting if Hugh is fired, who will be promoted. Will Dirk be let go also? And if so, who replaces him? That's an excellent point. Because, yeah, I think Quinn is on a hotter seat than Dirk, as bad as Dirk looked, because this will be the 3rd year that Dan Quinn comes out flat. Now, I want to preface that by saying I have not given up on the team. No, I don't think any of us have given up on the team. However, if we lose at Dallas, and then you got Chicago coming here, and then we go to Green Bay, you can't afford to start this season 1-3. And I'm pretty sure if any of you listen to the Arthur Blank, those of you got a chance to listen to the Arthur Blank interview he did with Dave Archer last week, Arthur Blank made it clear. I think Dan Quinn is a leader of men, but I'm not going to accept losing like we did last couple of years. So this is where Arthur steps in and says, hey, I'm not going to take it. Brandon says Falcons seems like they were panicking since the first quarter. I've been saying that word all day, Brandon. I missed you yesterday. I didn't see you come in here yesterday, Brandon. But I've been saying that the whole time. You look like you couldn't beat them with the base plays that you had. You had to do something tricky. You had to do something weird to beat Seattle. To the person, I can't remember who earlier was saying about the offensive line. I've seen this offensive line suck. Yesterday was not one of those days. I'm not saying that they played super great, but they didn't stink the place up yesterday. A lot of those plays was, Matt. Well, us not picking up Jamal coming off the edge. There was a lot of that yesterday. They had the blitz to get pressure on Matt yesterday. I think they held up good with the front four. Homer says if we lose to Dallas, 1-3 is a given. And I know you're probably looking at that Green Bay game, I'm sure, saying that. That's why I think it's gonna be interesting to see how we come out. Benny says Falcons will win the next 3 games. Benny, I hope so. I truly hope so. Toddy says, honestly, Quinn should have been fired after the Super Bowl. He would have had 80% of NFL teams. I'm staying positive. However, if this happens to be another disappointing season, then Arthur Blank must shoulder a lot of the blame because he went against everyone's wishes and kept Dan Quinn. Amen. Because I think last year at the half season, I had the posters out. Fire Quinn during the bye. Get rid of Quinn. I didn't tell him not to make internal changes. Get rid of Quinn. Because there's something in the mix here since that Super Bowl year that just hasn't been the same. It just hasn't. I would love for it to be different, but it just hasn't been the same. Even the 2017, as horrible as our offense played that 2017 year, that defense was balling. There was something in the air then. Since 2018, 19, and small sample, but yesterday, I don't know. There was something missing. But this is rehab, and I said this is Monday evening rehab. So I as easy as it is to talk about the negative, tell me what we need to do aside of fire Dan Quinn, because that's obviously a bigger deal. Tell me, if you're walking in the Falcons clubhouse today, what is the first thing you're going to say to them to say, hey, this is the first thing we need to do? I'll tell you what the first thing I'm going to tell them is, stop panicking. I'm going to echo with I'm going to echo with, don't panic. You had 2 parts in that game. When they did the first 4th down play, I was kind of like, okay, that's early enough to where it shouldn't make a huge difference. I got a little worried about the second one we did when the guy batted the ball back. I got a little scared because I said to myself, oh, y'all getting a little too happy with the 4th down. By the time we got to the punt play, the fake punt, yeah, now you're just showing Seattle that you don't think that you can match up with them. Now you're showing them that I got to do everything I need to do to beat you. That's not it. Brandon said we could have beat Seattle if we didn't beat ourselves. Like I said, we coached against ourselves. Boy, Brother Cochran, I don't want to mispronounce your name. I hope it's Foleon. The fake punt fumble is what lost the game. I think that was one of the key points of the game. You're absolutely right. Brandon says 3rd and 23. Can't get off the field. 4th and 5. Can't get off the field. 4th and 3. Calvin drops the ball. We got to play more consistent and make plays when they are there to make them. Brandon says don't beat yourself. Stop panicking and stay poised. Gregory, first thing I would try to be aware and await. Do your part on the field. Brandon, stop blaming coaches and make a play. Big players play big. Benny says use the great players that we have. Absolutely. Garrett, what's up, brother? Garrett says Chicago is going to have an easy win. And Garrett, hold on. I'm going to just stop the music for 1 second. Garrett is a big Chicago fan. Let me tell you something, Gary. Not only did y'all luck up in that Detroit game, lucked up totally because Detroit just decided to stop playing. Please don't try to sell me that you think Mitch Trubisky is supposed to be a threat. I'm going to step way back and say we played a Super Bowl champion quarterback yesterday. It's not like we played Baker Mayfield or we played some scrub like Mitchell Trubisky. We played Russell Wilson. Slow down on the Chicago Bears stuff. And matter of fact, make sure you see me in a couple of weeks when we start talking about that. That's I hear you, big dog, but yeah, slow down that Chicago Bear talk. Lisa says we thought that defense from the second half of the last season would carry over. What do you think happened? I think they carried over in the first half, Lisa. I think those 2 first drives of the first quarter, I wasn't ready to sell the season out on that. Because I felt like, one, we were getting pressure on Russell, but then they made more plays. They made dink-dunk plays up and down the field on the first 2 drives. Then we made some adjustments. The first 2 scores were in the first quarter. We made adjustments and shut them out the rest of the half. And the offense started clicking a little bit. So I'm not exactly throwing the whole book out and saying the defense did not play. They didn't give effort and they just sucked. The secondary might be a whole different area than the front 7 possibly. Maybe we need to separate them a little bit. But you can't. They're all the defense. But I'm not willing to throw the whole book out on that yet. Brother Astrobot says Rehab sucks. It does, brother. What's going on with you? Philip said the blitz more in the second half. Yeah, you can. I think the game plan changed for Seattle in the second half. They took more chances in the second half. I don't know. And maybe that's because our game plan changed, where we start panicking. JD says, speaking of Baker Mayfield, he's on the hot seat. Let me tell you, man. 38, and I know he played Baltimore, but Baker Mayfield, man. I'm still seeing commercials from Baker Mayfield. What has Baker Mayfield done? What? Oh, man. I just frustrated with that. Titus says Falcon must come out and set the tone early. We have not done that in almost 5 years. Gregory said people bashing us and Matt Ryan. Chicago has Trubisky. Could be a hell of a lot worse. Yeah, that's true. Homer, run the ball with Gurley heavy. Eat clock. Use the run to set up the pass for Matt. He needs play action to be effective. Protect our defense. We have weapons, but weren't quite creative enough to play fast like Seattle did. Brandon said, what does Dallas look like? I'm moving on. I'm getting ready to get in a little bit into them in a second. JD says, Ricardo Allen made a mistake on the first drive, and we made an adjustment. The big problem was 4th down decisions. It changes the entire momentum. And the momentum thing that you're talking about, JD, is so big. And the reason why it's big in this situation is because you didn't have a crowd to help you. So when you make those mistakes and you self-inflict those mistakes on yourself out there, can you imagine the air sucking out of that stadium when Niesman ran that ball? And let me tell you something, Niesman better not be on another special teams play. How you gonna put somebody on there that can't hold the ball? Obviously, they've done that play in practice before. How you not gonna hold on to the ball, dude? Come on, man. So to your point about momentum, Big Mo, the only people that's motivating you are yourselves. So when you make a doomsday play like you did on that punt, you don't have a crowd to, at that point, they get the ball back, our side of the field, our crowd roars and gets loud and gets in their face and rah, defense, but we don't have that. So you have to make your own way. You have to make your own momentum. We didn't do that yesterday. We didn't do that. Rosa Pam says, "Aren't you tired of the lockdown? Do you need to play?" Oh Lord, have mercy. Are you serious? Do you actually have a do you actually have a spam thing? Hey, if you don't get off my page. Sean says, "Did Quinn take back over the defense?" No, he didn't take back over the defense. Morris is still running. Bruce says, "No comment." Plead the fifth. Oh man, that's old Dave Chappelle stuff right there. Montavious, isn't this the same Bears team that passed up on Mahomes and Watson? Yeah, I know. Greg, I don't even think Gregory believed what he's saying. I really don't. But he's back. He says Atlanta needs a mobile quarterback. Manny Ice isn't the one. You are right. Mitch isn't the one, but with y'all secondary, that makes it easy to win in the air. I'm so sick and tired of the mobile quarterback. I'm not saying you shouldn't have an athletic quarterback. I don't care if the quarterback is mobile or not. I just need the quarterback to win. I just need somebody to get in that pocket and win. Mobile quarterback is about the most overused terminology. I just need an athletic quarterback. That's what I need. I need a quarterback that's athletic. Mobile, that's a buzzword that everybody that's been watching college football wants to use. Just get me an athletic quarterback. Is Matt the stereotypical athletic quarterback? No. And I know it's easy to point at that right now when you're losing. But yeah, spare me the mobile quarterback talk. Dexter says, if Gurley don't rush for 100 against Dallas, we in trouble. I got a feeling we are. Alvin Smith, man, I got to give him credit too. Brother that came back from 5 years ago with all the drama, man. He played really well yesterday. Shades of when he was destroying us in the championship game back in the Georgia Dome. Gregory says, use Gurley accordingly, especially as a fifth receiver. The defense will respect his presence. That's why the play action worked in the game. Gurley is a threat. Let him loose. And the problem is, Gregory, I think we had planned on doing that, but I think we went away from the game plan. We went away from it. We went away from it because we got behind. Nothing can explain how you go from 10 carries and 50 yards to 4 carries in the second half because you down by 3 touchdowns or 3 scores. Titus says, yes, the term mobile quarterback is the most overused phrase in football is wild. The quarterback with the most rings is the most non-mobile quarterback in history. And that's a mic drop if you ever heard it. And let's give a hand to the overrated Tampa Bay Buccaneers for that great performance. Let me tell you something, too. I'm going to tell y'all, I watched that game yesterday after I got off talking to y'all. Drew Brees, I think Drew Brees' days are numbered. Drew Brees did not look good yesterday. And as a matter of fact, I'll go one step further and say, if he still plays like that, there's still hope for us, y'all. Now, New Orleans defense is not bad. I'm not going to sit here and lie. They played pretty decent. But neither Brady or Breeze looked great yesterday. Neither one. You know what they look like? They look like 40-year-old quarterbacks. Oh, my fault. They are 40-year-old quarterbacks. They looked old. And one thing you can say about our quarterback yesterday, he didn't look like he was 40. Yeah, he underthrew some stuff. Yeah, his arm strength ain't Pat Mahomes. I get it. All that. But Breeze and Brady looked their age yesterday. Don't let that score fool you. Those were some defenses doing things yesterday. I am not scared of either one of them. Neither one. I can go back up here to the top. Jody Hart says Matt Ryan needs to eat some Popeye spinach for that weak arm. Look, obviously the one play everyone's going to point to and say that was a weak arm. I get it. I'm not going to sit here. There was a post going on today when the guy was trying to defend Matt throwing for 450 yards, and you got to be good in order to do that. But okay, let me dispel that for a second. I'm kind of down the middle with that. Yeah, 450 doesn't mean anything when you're getting beat by 2 touchdowns. 0. Nothing. I could care less. Matt is not without talent. It's easier to dissect when you're getting beat. When we're winning, it makes you look like a Super Bowl champ. Go look at the numbers Matt was putting up the year we won. It's not like Matt was doing too much different than he is now, except we were on the winning side more in 2016 and 17. He had an awful 2017. But you know what? Aside of us here in the Atlanta fan area, there were still people. Matt Ryan was still voted as one of the top 30 or 40 players in 2017, even though he sucked the year after the Super Bowl. So winning tends to kind of make you look good or make you look bad. Russell had very nice numbers yesterday. He really did. He was extremely efficient. But, I mean, do I still think he's the absolute best in the league? Yeah, he's top 5, maybe. I'm not ready to sell out totally for him. So the Matt Ryan debate, I'm not going to win that either way with anybody, and I'm not looking to win. All I'm saying is I still think we have the quarterback that we have, and I think we can get things done with him. And you just don't throw for 450 whether you're losing or not. You don't just throw for 450 if you suck. But as I told the same person in the post, I would rather Matt have numbers like 19 of 24 for 280 yards and have Gurley/Hill run for 140 than to have the gaudy 450-yard game. Because what that tells me, if Matt throws for 280 yards and we win, that means we had a balanced attack. If he throws for 450, that automatically tells me either we lose him by 4 touchdowns or the defense has laid down. Lynn says, my opinion, the preseason helps take the edge off. Let's make it positive that it was a preseason game, but the play calling still needs improvement. And I would agree with you 100% on that, Lynn, with the one exception, that it does count. We were talking right before the season to say, You have to steal these games right here. These first 4 games are preseason for every NFL team. I was literally having this conversation up at our family table a few minutes ago. The first 4 games are literally preseason-ish, with the exception that they count. These teams are getting to know each other. This is the first time defensive players have been able to hit with bad intentions. So it's going to take a second for folks to get up to snuff. So to your point, you're right, but these games do count. And I agree with you when you said play calling needs to improvement. I do agree with that. Brandon says Tampa looked terrible, and Breeze, like you said, can't throw. Breeze is done, man. But you know, Brandon, Breeze was done last year. People keep forgetting, man. Teddy Bridgewater kept them guys afloat till Breeze came back last year. But what I saw from Breeze yesterday, that ain't the Drew Brees that used to drag us up and down the field in the mid 2010s. That's not the same Drew Brees. That's not. Can he still throw a 5-yard out, 5-yard in? Absolutely. But that's not the same quarterback that destroyed us all the time. JD said Matt outplayed Drew Brees. He absolutely did. JD's out, I'm scared of Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan is a bad boy. He's definitely a bad boy. Bruce said, Uncle Rico, I can throw a football over the mountains. I saw Napoleon Dynamite about 2 weeks ago, man. but yeah, the Drew Brees, Tom Brady myth of them, they wanted to build that up. The 2 great Super Bowl champion quarterbacks, and nobody's taking that ring stuff away from them. But I will say that they both look very old. Brother Sean, how you doing, man? Thank you so much again, man, for your streaming on Sundays, man. That is some good stuff for us. I feel like this season will expose Matt's internal lack of motivation because of the lack of the crowd. Wasn't his fault yesterday, and more of the coach's fault. And you know, it's interesting. I don't know if you got a chance, if you guys get the little alerts from AtlantaFalcons.com. They showed him mic'd up yesterday, and you know, he plays the part like he's supposed to. Matt says all the right things, and obviously from this offseason, we know he does the right things. He sounds like he's all in and trying to do it. But Sean, to your point, I mean, dude, we are so far over what people say they're going to do. We need to see action. And it starts this week in Dallas. You can erase all this with a win in Dallas. You can erase all the negativity. You can erase all of the second guessing. You can erase all of this if we win next week. Philip says our D-line will have a ball with Brady and Breeze. They look washed. They did. Astro says, have we even talked about the O-line? O-line wasn't bad, man. Somebody's going to have to give me a good argument to say the O-line. And when you get beat 38-23, nobody's suggesting, I'm sorry, 38-25. Nobody's suggesting that the O-line is, great. But for the most part, they did a pretty good job. When we finally start picking up a blitzing Jamal Adams, aside of that, they kept their front four intact. Homer says they both 40 in age, but Tampa and Saints coaches smoked our coaches hands down. That's their advantage, and that's true. Toddy says, right, Steve, Breeze didn't look good, but New Orleans still wins football games. That's what many fans don't realize about having a complete team that can still win despite mediocre quarterback play. Matt Ryan don't have that privilege in Atlanta, and he's right. He's right. He says there's that PTSD. Look, I'm trying to tell y'all that you're absolutely right. Gregory says, I call that Tampa too, Steven. Same of Tampa Bay, same old car, and no motor, no paint job, just primer and expensive rims. Absolutely. Chip says one play. He's been throwing that since at least 2012. But you know what, Chip? It's so funny. Somebody was talking about that in the football game. I can't remember what it was. So they were saying, but you know what? If you run that one play over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and nobody's going to stop it, you're going to keep running. So, hey, he's made a living off of it. And it's been 11 years since Drew Brees won a Super Bowl. Matter of fact, it's been 11 years. If I'm not mistaken, I think they've only gotten to one NFC championship in those 11 years. I think they may have gotten to two, but it's not like New Orleans has been world beaters over the last 10 years. I just make the point. Drew Brees has not played very well over these last few years. And, Tom Brady, he has more equity. When you got the hardcore goal, when you got 6 chips, Tom Brady's not. But Tom Brady, it's harder to do a critique of Tom Brady, and Tom Brady just won one 2 years ago, so that's something to think about. But Tom looked bad too. He looked really bad, especially on that pick six. And pick six looked like something Matt would have thrown. Chip says Seattle's defense is trash. I think Seattle had 2 players. They had number 33 and Bobby Wagner. Jamal Adams and Wagner were basically a 2-man wrecking crew, and more Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams shut us down by himself, and that's a shame. Jamal Adams was in coverage. Jamal Adams sacked Matt. He dang sure should have had an interception on one play. He just about beat us himself. JD says, "Oh yeah, by the way, both of our linebackers are underrated." And that's the sad thing. That front 7, I hate that we're not able to give them the shine. It's kind of hard to give them shine when you lose 38-25, because anytime you see 38, the first thing to say is our defense played horrible. The secondary did not have a great showing yesterday. I'm not saying we didn't make some bad plays inside. We didn't have the double-digit missed tackles like we usually do. I will say that. We made some for the most part, when they got their hands on folks, the most part, they usually went down. So that's an improvement too. I was really concerned about that going into the year, whether we're going to do that. Jody Hart says, our OC is trash, though we have a high school playbook. It sets Matt Ryan up the field. I take it one step further, Jody. I think we got a Pop Warner. I think the Atlanta Vikings coach could probably come down there and call some better offenses. I usually don't go in on folks like that, but something has to be done with Dirk Cutter. Now here's the deal. I reserve the right, if we come back next week and put 40 on Dallas, I reserve the right to come back and change my mind. But after what we looked like this week, and I'm not going to count the last touchdown that we threw to Ridley when they were playing Keystone Cops in the Seattle secondary, bumping into each other. Aside of that, we really didn't put up a lot of points against that defense, and that defense was nowhere as good. We put up better points. The defense we played the year we went to the Super Bowl was 4 times the defense that Seattle has right now, and we put up more points. Sean says, I don't know if I missed it, but did you all talk about the D-line yet? I personally like what Tack was doing, and of course, Grady and Fowler showed up. Also, Sean, we did talk about the D-line, and it's one of the bright spots that we talked about. Tack, as we figured, should be motivated. Tack is playing for his next contract. Dante Fowler was really all over, sneakily all over the place. He didn't get he did. I think he ended up with a half a sack. I think him and Grady. And Grady, I'm going to just stop talking about Grady. Because, look, I think the rest of the NFL realizes Grady might be the second best interior lineman in the game. We saw the best against Dallas last night. But Grady might be in that top 2-3 category. Grady motor, man. Grady moves like he's a linebacker. He moves like he's a linebacker. Russell Wilson, and he almost got him a third time. He really is probably one of the most underrated guys in the NFL. And one guy I haven't had a chance to talk about, and we haven't mentioned him at all today, and I have to give him a little bit of a star, especially after the blatant helmet-to-helmet hit that should have got Jamal Adams out the game. Russell Gage, man, when we made that trade last year, and I remember when we made it, and I came on the next day, and I said, I loved what Shanu gave to us. Beam was all that we asked for, and glad that he was a Falcon. But we were in good hands because I saw some things from Gage last year, or the year before, I should say, that told me, I said, Gage looked like he's ready to play. 9 catches, over 100 yards, the tough catches, the in the middle of the field catches, the expose yourself to the hard-hitting safety catches. And not only did he take that hit, he came back and made some more catches yesterday. So in addition to the D-line, I have to give Gage just a good thumbs up because I think he did a really good job yesterday proving that he is absolutely planted as our slot receiver in this system. JD says, I have one problem with Matt Ryan. Matt needs to be bold to his OC or head coach. When you make some play strategies you're not going to work, you have to step up and say something. Well, that's something with the team too, JD. And I've always thought it was kind of interesting that either the owner or TD wouldn't come up and say, hey, listen, Matt, you've been in this game for a while. You're MVP. You juicing us for all this money. What do you want to do? What do you want to do as a quarterback? You've earned enough equity here in Atlanta to be able to say, I want this type of teaching. I want that type of teaching. So there's something to me that maybe Matt is passive about that stuff and just says, you know what? I just want to do whatever the guy tells me to do. I don't know. I've never heard that conversation before. I know he used to be able to call plays back in the old Dirk Carter system, but I don't know. That's a very good question, JD. It is kind of baffling, but yeah, I don't know. Jennifer says, I feel like this was our preseason one day. Jennifer, I hope it is. If it is, let's get it over with. We had a secondary. Yeah, I don't know what happened to the secondary. The secondary, let's give them this mulligan and hope they play better next week. I hope they do. Gregory says, question, if the helmet-to-helmet was called and the 2 missed pass interference call on Hurst, are we speaking win or a closer game? I think the helmet-to-helmet was very much a critical call because that would have got 33 out the game. 33 by himself. And tell me if we all were watching the same game. 33 by himself basically controlled that offense early. And I think if he hits, I think if that helmet to helmet and he's ejected from that game, I think that makes a big difference. Could be wrong, could be guessing, but you're right. And the missed pass interference, yeah, that's one of those things that you kind of almost like the Cowboy-Rams game yesterday. With the referees, we'll be sounding like New Orleans. What should have happened, could have happened. You know what? There were too many plays left on the field that weren't called, where we just didn't execute, that I can't. The pass interference ones, I'm kind of like, that's a chance call. It's almost like a umpire calling a strike. But I hear what you're saying. Yeah, but the Jamal Adams hit, I think that was legit. I think he should have absolutely been thrown out for that. Jennifer said Russell Wilson is good. He's more than good, Jennifer. He's really good. Homer, Gage was wide open in the first half. At the first down marker on the fourth down overthrow Matt had. Yep. Oh, is that the one where he got batted down? I think that was the one he got batted down. Gregory says Gage balled out. Tidy, if Gage continues to emerge, Ridley could become trade bait in the offseason. I think we talked about that a little bit in the summertime, Tidy, if I'm not mistaken. Listen, dude doesn't drop. in last year, he didn't drop a lot of passes. Go back and start looking. Not only is he not dropping passes, he's catching those balls in the middle of the field. There is not a price you can put on those cats who are willing to go in that middle and get that ball. That's just the truth. Get out of here. Fred says every time it is a missed call, it was the female ref right there. All right, now don't y'all start now. There was one call that I did say she made, but that's way too easy, and I'm just gonna leave it right there. Oh man, Kevin says secondary gave up barbecue roast sandwich all day. They absolutely did. That's no doubt, man. And I got your message too about the sound yesterday. I apologize, y'all, for the sound. Yesterday, I don't know what part of town I'm on the south in Henry County. It was kind of weird yesterday. The lights, the power in the whole quadrant, not just the neighborhood, in the quadrant went out yesterday in that fourth quarter. And I don't know what happened, but it knocked out everything and it messed up my mic. So sorry about that. Secondary gave up. I saw that. Ty said Ridley going to command a lot of money and we may not be able to afford it. I think Julio will be a problem for 3 more seasons, including this one. Well, Julio has already showed that he's I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to tell you who else balled yesterday. I watching the end of that, boy. That D-Hop, boy. If Kyler Murray can make the right decisions, which he did yesterday, that Arizona team might be some trouble. Them boys, they might be a little bit of trouble. Because I saw Kyler Murray running yesterday. Let's talk about athletic quarterbacks and whatever. Jeez. That speed he has going through there. And he was throwing that ball up to D-Hop. D-Hop caught, I think, 14 yesterday. He was balling. But Julio was balling yesterday, too. Got to get him in that end zone, though. Really want to get him in the end zone. Damian, what's going on, brother? You didn't miss a lot, man. Again, Monday evening rehab. We're going to go over it every Monday. Talk about what we did, what we didn't do, how we did it, and all of that. And hopefully we can, get all of this yuck out our mouths. Because actually starting tomorrow, we're going to move forward. Anybody watching the game, looks like Pittsburgh just scored again. So they're going to be up 2 scores. They're up 1 score. My apologies. They're up 1 score on the Giants as we speak in the Monday night game. We're just talking about what happened. Get it all out, because I can tell you what, you can't afford to linger on this game because Dallas is going to be upset. Dallas had a great opportunity, even though if you watched that game yesterday, the Rams outplayed Dallas yesterday. That whole game. And Rams should be shooting themselves in the foot that they let Dallas stick around as long as they did. Because the Rams outplayed them from basically start to finish. But they let Dallas creep back in and score the touchdown before the half and whatever. But, yeah, that little Malcolm Brown, I mean, if Gurley can give us something similar to what Brown gave, if they let Brown run through him like that, Gurley should have a good time next week. At least I hope he is. They said, Greg said, if ATL grasped the team football concept, we will be hell on wheels. I believe it. They said, Arizona is my shock of the season team. Yeah, I'm going to tell you who should have been more of a shot yesterday, even though they found a way to lose that game. Cincinnati too, man. That little kicker, I'm surprised he doesn't have a job today. He missed a little 20-yard field goal, and then he was they had a chance to win, and they couldn't pull it out yesterday. That to me was pretty bad. Here's the thing I wanted to talk about too when we start talking about the games yesterday. When we look at what happened yesterday, do you see? And these are simple. I know we've talked specifically about what happened yesterday, but when you start looking at these things, the problems that we had yesterday, are they fixable, or do we have to start over? Because to me, secondary play, yeah, that's a matter possibly of, as suggested earlier, maybe putting somebody else in there and giving them a chance. I don't know. Do I give up 100% on Oliver after one game? No, every player has a bad game. Let's just hope he got his bad game out the way now. Is this fixable, or do we start over? I don't think so. I think this is something that you look at and say, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's go back and look at the tape. Let's fix these techniques right here. Isaiah, this is what you can't do. This is how your technique needs to be on this particular play. So you don't give up those big plays. That's what kept us in the game early yesterday. The first half, we did not give up a big play. Matter of fact, the biggest play we gave up in the first half was the pass interference play. Other than that, we really didn't give up the play. It was showing in the stats. Russell Wilson was 11 for 12 for 100 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, but they were, like I said, all dinks and dunks. So you didn't give up the big play. So fixable or start over? I think some of the things are fixable. I really do. I think there are things you could have done that makes a difference. Brother Marcus, what's going on, man? Said D-line worked hard yesterday, man. Should we play more press coverage with the DBs? It's something to think about, but we had a 3-safety scheme yesterday. I don't know why you shouldn't. I'm a little bit surprised that we had 2 safeties playing up. I saw KZ running over to the side where Oliver was too late, which kind of disturbed me a little bit, because my thing is, dude, 4th and 5, somebody on that defensive coaching squad has got to say, leave somebody back there. Leave somebody. Everybody shouldn't be up there. Somebody should be left back. And that scares me that somebody didn't think. You know what I got flashbacks of? I got flashbacks of Georgia against Alabama. When Tua had that, and it was they had the chance, what was it, 3rd and 22 or 2nd and 20, whatever it was. And I just said to myself, how do you not have anybody back there in the back? Too easy. Too easy. I seriously had flashbacks thinking about that. Anthony says it's fixable. So, Brandon said fixable. Anthony said we didn't have our 3rd corner nor a preseason, so that makes a difference. It makes it a big difference. There's a huge difference. It really does. So again, I think they are fixable things. And we talked a lot about the secondary. You're absolutely right. The secondary had their struggles, but the defense, a tale of 2 halves. In the first half, and I know they scored 2 touchdowns right off the rip, I'm going to attribute that to, you know what? We all getting ourselves together. That's the non-preseason, whatever. After that second touchdown, the defense clamped in. The defense did what they were supposed to do. I like that. And then somehow in the second half, I think when we start panicking, after Seattle got the fourth down play and went up 9, we panicked. I would like to see the same consistency from our defense from half to half. Defensive line, I just want you to do what you did yesterday. I can't even say anything bad about them. Do what you did yesterday. Kevin said, you know I live in Tacoma, Washington. I didn't know you had been to Fort Lewis. I'm catching hell from Seattle fans. Brother, I was in Fort Lewis from the late 80s until the mid 90s. Only reason we stayed up there longer was because of Desert Storm. But oh man, Tillicum, Lakewood, all that area up there, brother. Oh, I grew up there as a young man in the military, and that's one of the most beautiful areas in the country. Had I not gone to Germany and come back, I probably would have tried to go back to that area. But oh man, I had lovely times. I know those Seattle fans. One of my Army buddies, Jason Dietz, my former roommate, he gave me a little junk yesterday, as he should. He lives over in Eastern Washington, and that was a tough one yesterday. I know you were catching it, and you tell the folks up there, I said hello. That's a good area up there, man. I love that area. But defense, it's a tale of two halves, y'all. I think we just need to keep the same defensive line play, linebacker play, and just make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do at halftime. Let's make sure we're doing. And last but not least, what is your most glaring need going forward? And I don't know why I spelled that like that is. Y'all making me take my thing off. The most glaring need going forward for this team. What do you need to see out of this team the most going forward? And that's one of the things that I just say better secondary play. You got to have better secondary play. At the end of the day, that's what it's going to take. Corey says 2 words, Justin Fields. Look, and I'm trying to tell you, as much as that would be a pipe dream to get him, as much as it would, folks, I don't know if I can go through a 2-14 season and call myself waiting for Justin Fields. I know, I hear you, but y'all don't want to lose 14 games. That's the only way you're going to get Justin. 14 games, 13 games. I don't think I could stomach that. So keep it saying, I retired from Fort Lewis, but I'm from Atlanta. Hey, join the club. You know how it is. I said I had such a great time up there, man. That was just an awesome area. Brother Rusty is here. Rusty said I had to work late, so I'm just getting on. I thought about it today, and the recipe for success is not having Matt throw the ball 50 times per game. We need to be a run-first team with MR2 throwing 25 attempts per game. I realize this league is all about flashy offense, but we do not have the quarterback for that. Run Gurley, Hill, Ito, and Ollison, and let Matt throw for 20-25. If we can't do that, then we will not be successful this year. I absolutely, positively said the exact thing probably about 10 minutes before you got on. The stats I want to see, to your point, 20 for 24, 270 yards, a couple of touchdowns. That's the kind. Gurley, the combination, but mostly Gurley, are running for 120 yards, 130 yards to keep the offense balanced. That's what you need. That's what you need as far as that's concerned. I look at y'all coming in with your answers. Sean says coaching. Absolutely. Anthony, better scheme. Marcus said, I think Matt Ryan needs to have more rank in the offense and changing plays at the same time. Ty, team needs some toughness. I will say this, Tidy. The trenches compared to this time last year, would you give the trenches an A or B? I'm sorry, not an A or B. Would you give them thumbs up or thumbs down as compared to last year during this time? And with the hope that last year during this time, they were pretty bad. I say both sides of the line look pretty good. Philip says the D will step up. We will need to use all of our weapons, and of course, better play calling as well as getting the defense off the field. I agree. I'll come back up here. Damian says creativity with the offense. I agree. Homer, more third down conversions and red zone efficiency. Red zone efficiency. Gotta have that. Toddy, I'm Phil's biggest fan, but we won't be that bad to draft him. I don't think he will, too. It would be great to get him back home, but I don't think that's happening. And that's where we are, man. I think we're gonna have a good day. I mean, a good week, hopefully, of practice, and we'll turn the page. We're gonna try our best to move forward. This was the rehab session. Now that we've had the rehab session, we're gonna move forward. All other talks going forward will be about the Dallas Cowboys, because guess what? We don't want to lose to the Cowboys either. If y'all have a chance, y'all didn't get a chance to see my recap, check me out. I have a podcast on Spotify right now and a few other lesser known podcast areas. But Spotify has the Falcon Fan Freestyle with yours truly. You'll see my little bobblehead on there, but I've had it up for the last week or two. Got a couple of episodes. Y'all check it out, man. Just look at it. Just trying to do some new things, not only in the Atlanta Bird Gang group, but outside. So if you don't have it, the podcasts are very short. They're somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes, so they don't take up all your day. Get a chance to see what's going on in this big head of mine as far as the Falcons are concerned. We're up to week 3 where I did a recap of what's going on. But I will always be in the Atlanta Bird Gang group. I appreciate the admins letting us come in halftime and post game yesterday. So we'll keep this going, man. Let's hope we get a win next week. I think we can. We just got to keep that positivity and keep it going. So let's keep that momentum. Let's switch this momentum and go positive and do a thing next week, y'all. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great Monday. I'm going to check out the next half and full game of these Monday night games. Y'all have a blessed week. I will catch y'all on Friday, as I always will, for the preview going into the weekend's NFL games. Y'all be good. Peace and rise up.
I'm so sorry. I did not mean to.